No fim de semana, só rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem sou, passo bem sou, passo bem sou. Na festa do fim de semana.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and one of these things is going to be about Squid Game. So season 3 came out on June 27, which is about a few days ago, that I've been patiently waiting for about 6 months for them to release it. Let's just say that I've been having a lot of feelings that I needed to process. So I've been meaning to make a video about this for quite a while now, but I don't really know commentary is something that I'm good at or something that you guys would want to watch. So if there's I want to apologize in advance if I did missed out anything or make some mistakes throughout this video. And also warning for spoiler alert, because for those who haven't watched season 3 yet, I suggest you guys watch season 3 before you guys even click on this video. So let's start. So I'm going to be dividing these videos into 4 parts. So in the first part, I'm going to be explaining what is exactly Squid Game, and the second part is the introduction of the main characters. I'm going to be highlighting only the main characters for this video because I feel that that is what leads to the end game for season 3. And the third part is I'm going to be explaining how the nature or the number of players that change the nature of the games. And lastly is my opinions on season 3, the good and bad, the message of the show, the ending. So yeah, let's start from there. So what is exactly Squid Game? So Squid Game is consisting of 456 players who are being chosen by the recruiter himself to win the prize money of 456 billion won. So these people are being categorized to those who did in debt or risk of being chased by loan sharks. But the twist is, it can only be one winner because the number of people being unalive throughout the games is being cashed in into the prize money itself. So that's why it only needs one player to win all those money. And which leads me to the second part of this video is the introduction of the main characters. We were first introduced to the main protagonist of the show named Gi-hoon. He is a man in his mid-40s, he's a divorcee. He have a daughter who is currently living with his ex-wife and her current husband who is soon to be settling down in the US. And Gi-hoon is currently living with his mother. He is known to be a very lovable person and selfless, but due to his wrong decisions, led him to full of debts risk of being chased by loan sharks, which makes him the perfect player to be playing in this game. And along the episode itself, and this is when we were first introduced to another character of the show, which is known as to be the recruiter. He was introduced as someone who is very well dressed. He's just a normal guy, casually talking to Gi-hoon at the station. His character came off as someone who is helpful, witty, professional, and looks very trustworthy. He even offers Gi-hoon money, but she opened up a suitcase full of money and saying that if he wins a game of Dakji. It's a childhood game, consists of 2 papers, red and blue, and the player has to smack it to turn it over the other paper on the floor. So if the person loses, he got slapped. So Gi-hoon eventually wins the game and brings back the cash and also a card with a phone number on it. After calling and confirm his registration, he got into the games. So he woke up confused in this a very peculiar place. All 456 players are there, and we're introduced with other different characters of the show. They need to play a series of games, which is about 5 games, if I'm not wrong, and of course lead to losses and also emotional roller coasters along the way, down to the last winner, which is Gi-hoon himself. So during the games, this is when Gi-hoon first befriended an old man named Oh Il-nam, who is also known to be player 001. We are introduced him as someone who is very frail and in his 70s or 80s. And also, the twist is, he is the mastermind of the games. He came out as a character who is very unsuspicious, innocent, wise, and very friendly, which opened up Gi-hoon trust and befriended him and trusted him, giving him tips on how to win in one of the games. It never gives Gi-hoon or even asked any suspicion towards him because it was shown that he was actually being killed in one of the games. But the twist, nah, he wasn't, and he was until he meets Gi-hoon again on his deathbed. You know now that when Gi-hoon won the game, he never actually wanted to spend any of the money because he felt that it was blood money or dirty money. Until there is an invitation, like very random invitation by the old man to come and meet him in this one abandoned building. This is when Gi-hoon was meeting him again on his deathbed, and this is when he revealed his character that he's actually the mastermind of the games. So the reason why he actually created the games, he wanted to prove Gi-hoon that people are naturally very selfish and always very heartless. He wanted to play a game with him one more time, saying that there's a drunken man on the street in a very frozen weather, and if anybody was willing to help him, considered Gi-hoon wants the game. So Gi-hoon eventually proved him wrong. There is someone who eventually helped that drunkard man, and Gi-hoon won the game. And this is when the old man said his last breath, which led him, to have an epiphany that he wanted to do a good deed. Finally, giving out some of the money to his deceased best friend, and also fulfilling a promise to one of the deceased players that he met in one of the games. But as when he wanted to meet his daughter in the US, he was on his way to his flight. He encountered again the recruiter who is playing the same game with another person. Gi-hoon being very uh, being frantic, he chased after that man and took away the card from him. He called the same number from the card and talking to the person on the phone, saying that why is he doing this. Of course, this person not really trying to tell him anything and ask him to make the right decision and get on the plane. And Gi-hoon being Gi-hoon, he said he's not having any of this. I'm gonna come back and I will be wanting to know more answers and trying to stop it from happening again. So if I could just take a guess, the person on the phone is none other as the frontman himself. So he happens to be the other mastermind of the games and the right hand man of Oh In Now to be taking charge of the games once he was gone. He was first introduced in season 1 and his identity was very mysterious until we find out it was revealed it was actually Junho Elder's brother named Inho, who has been missing for quite a while. And he was backfired, being shot on the shoulder, and he fell off. And Junho fell off the cliff and never seen his brother again. And this is when we introduced to the frontman again in season 2, posing as a player of the game, saying that his name is Young Il, but this is when we all know that his real name is actually Inho. We know a brief background of his life. He's in season 2. He explained himself that he used to have a sick wife, and an unborn child who eventually didn't make it. So he was a player. He used to be a player and won the game when the old man gave him a knife and killed the other players. When we got a bit of a flashback in season 3, what really happens that lead him to become the frontman today. So we know that he's introduced as a villain of the show or the antagonist of the show. He became the frontman. He encountered or known Gi-hoon by watching over him through the screen and also sending him off after Gi-hoon won the games. And eventually meet him again during season 2 and return when Gi-hoon returned to the games and saying that he wanted to stop it from happening. So this is when his character first introduced as someone who's very loyal, manipulative, cool, smart, and friendly, and very very open. So we're moving on to the next part of this video, saying the story and the games affecting the games affecting by the players, the number of players. And that is the brief story of season 1, where Gi-hoon first entered the games and win it. We know what happened, and in season 2 he wanted to enter the games again to stop it. So in the first few episodes is just a brief on how Gi-hoon was trying to find the recruiter again, get some crew to find who is this person to get inside. But eventually the recruiter did find out who he was. He tracked down Gi-hoon, meet him again, and play a little game of Russian roulette. And we know now what happened to the recruiter. This is when Gi-hoon met with Inho's brother, who said that he got evidence but eventually was lost, and he needed Gi-hoon's help to find the island to prove that this thing is actually real. And since they both have the same intention, so they started working together and trying to find this place or this person who leads to these games in the first place. But eventually, Gi-hoon was being kidnapped in the car, talking to the frontman again through a speaker and daring him that he wanted to stop these games from happening. And also the cycle goes all over again. This is when Gi-hoon first entered the games, introduced to new players who entered the games as well. He thought that he has a plan, he has a chip tracker inside his fake tooth. He has that confidence that these people that he hired with will eventually find him and stop the games from happening. But it was, of course, it was backfired after they found out this tracker and put it in a one container being placed in another island. And this is when the first game was about to start, Gi-hun had to make up a backup plan, trying to explain to them that this game is not what it seems. It it can lead to the killing and everything, and leading them to safety. Eventually, more players were being saved as compared to season one. So as per usual, we have this voting system that happened in season one. It happened again in season two. The only difference is it happens at every game. So eventually, these players have a choice to leave by majority in each of the games. You have these buttons, these two buttons. If the X, you willing, if you don't want to wait, is it? Yeah. X, you don't want to stay, and O, you want to stay and play the games. Of course, eventually after the first game and Gi-hun telling who he is, he won the games, give them that kind of confidence that they will win the game as well and be willing to continue the games until the end. And this is when we introduced the frontman posing as the player who wanted to so-called manipulate him and trying to get inside what Gi-hun was actually planning. So this is when throughout the episode in season two, they play a few games. They have some bonding, some kind of bonding with each other, gain some trust. But eventually, Gi-hun was being betrayed and killing Gi-hun's best friend, who happened to be in the games as well. Leads to season three, we get a glimpse of Gi-hun being depressed of what really happened. He feels that nothing will ever change. And at the end of the episode, at the end of a few episodes, this is when Inho revealed himself that he's actually the frontman. He had good intentions in saying that he wanted to help Gi-hun and the baby to escape, or is it to win the game and eventually leave this place. So where the baby come from? So one of the players who is actually pregnant gave birth in during one of the games, and one and the other next round itself, the mother actually didn't make it at the end. So she entrusted Gi-hun to take care of the baby and protect the baby, making sure no one would hurt her. The baby is her. So this is when the majority still want to stay at till the end of the games itself, and they changed the rules a bit, saying that since the baby is still around, still representing the previous player, so eventually she still has the money. It wasn't counted into the prize money itself. They feel that it's unfair, and that's why they wanted to stay the games, and they actually have a vote. To they can choose who to kill, something like that. Then this is when they choose Gi-hun and the baby to be sacrificed, which leads to the end of the game, which is the end Squid game. So they've been choosing, and there's some fightings involved. The bad guys loses, and only left with Gi-hun and player 333, who is also happened to be the baby's father. So he eventually at the end he didn't want. Of course, he has his selfishness takes over. Even the baby's father was willing to sacrifice his own baby so that he can win the money. Gi-hun had to step up and eventually killed the father. But the sad thing is he didn't push the button in the last round, which led him and the baby. So the rules of the game is there are three pillars. So each pillars you need to kill one person, but the round can only start after you press the button. But sadly, he didn't press it, which leads him and the baby. So being Gi-hun, he wasn't willing to sacrifice another life, especially someone who's very frail, and he eventually volunteered himself to sacrifice himself at the end. So this is when I'll be explaining why the nature of the games eventually changed in is all based on the number of players playing there. So in season one, there are a lot of people who are really kind of clueless, and they don't know each other, they don't have that kind of bonding with each other, they are willing to betray. All their focus is mostly on the money, which that's why it was explained in Red Light Green Light, there are more people who are being sacrificed, which lead them to lesser players. when it comes to the second round of the game, people leave during that moment, and we don't know how many people actually come back during the second entering. So maybe it was lesser than usual. We might never know. Which lead them to a single person's game, which is the Dagona. As compared to season 2, there are not a lot of people who are being sacrificed. So there are more players that need to be played, and none of them eventually leave the games. So lead them to the second game that involves a team playing game, the six-legged pentathlon. So they needed to strategize properly, and something that can even like lessen the players that only can lead to one winner at the end. So yeah, that's my theory for this for the games being played. In season one, nobody was really wanting to have a rebellion against the system. They just followed by the rules. They just wanted to win the money for their own purposes, for their own benefit of it. But in season two, Ki-hoon knows what is going on. His main purpose wasn't for the money in the first place. He wanted to stop it from happening. And these people in season two, as compared to season one, in my opinion, I feel that they are willing to put their differences aside and willing to work together. And you notice that their team of their own team, especially Gi-hoon's team in season two, it was more than usual than season one. In season one, they even have his best friend who is willing to betray him and willing to just for the sake of his own benefit, as compared to season two. I'm not saying season two all of them are very innocent, no, but I feel that it's more uh kind of bonding kind of situation. And they even have his best friend, but he didn't even betray Gi-hoon in the first place. So yeah, we have games in season 3 is kind of peculiar a bit because we have the hide and seek, jump rope, and lastly the air squid game. So I don't have much theory on season 3, which I mostly have some theory on the hide and seek offered to two teams, one with the knife, one with the keys. Who he needed to hide, and with keys with different shapes. So intentionally, I feel that this, other than and the other thing I feel that the game was made the way it is, we know how bonded they are with each other. They have a choice to save who is who, but in this one, they are unable to choose or team with anyone. It's more to survival of the fittest. So you could be friends with this person or related to the person, but even if they related, if the person was made to kill someone, even you're not safe and you are made to be hiding, it's no choice for you. Seriously. It's like as compared to the other three games, it's mostly about choosing who you bond with. You have a choice to save who is who. Now in the fourth game, they have to change it up a bit. They needed someone for something for survival of the fittest. So the term of being hide, the hide is either to have three keys. You need to have three keys to open up the exit door. So you can choose whether to hide for safety, but it doesn't guarantee you, or find the keys yourself, all the three keys yourself, or you can team up with the person that you can go with and go out safely. It's a choice. And for the person who is with the knife, they can only kill one person, but because they needed a benefit, they kill more than one. In a way, is more two choices. I feel in these other three games, the choices that you make, even in the fifth one, you chose this this narrow path. You can't go anywhere. It's like one way. You can't even save any of them who's at the verge of falling. You can't save them. There's no hope for that. And even the air squid game, you have a choice, but people are being greedy and paranoid. Eventually comes to one winner when they can actually leave the game in the first place. So which leads me to the other part of this video, is saying my opinions on season 3. Opinions on season 3 and season 1, what I was what I was expecting in season 3. It really got me excited. First thing, one of the questions I have, like wanting to know if Gi-hoon wins again in this season, and what will happen to the baby. But I was expecting the people whose them were eventually being unalive at that point, and I was expecting the team to find the island faster. Seriously. The good thing is it was a different ending than expected. It answers some of my questions I have in my mind in season 3. I'm glad that this show didn't take so long after the release of season 2 because it makes me question even more and get me more impatient. And the show gives me something to think about, evaluate the message of the show. It gives me the feels. That's what I like about the show. It gives me thinking of many theories of what happened. And the cinematography of this, of course, is very very beautiful in this one. In each of the games that's being played and everything, they captured the feels of each player being unalive. Really hits me in the heart deeply. The bad thing is, I feel that they took so long for the person who are finding the island. It took them so long to find the island, leads me to being uninterested. I just want to cancel out all the scenes about them finding the island and just want to go back to the games. I'm not interested in that. I just want to see what happened to them in the games. So basically, it's just when they found the island, it's basically nothing. Junho didn't even try to find Gihun. He eventually died. His dead body is like on the ground, and he didn't even see that. All he cares about, just want to see his brother and ask him why. That's it. Then they come back. He was practically dead. It's too long-winded for some scenes that was really neat. That wasn't really important to me. In some at some parts of it, seriously, it's 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 my opinion to me. So I feel that uh, the ending. So the ending, it was really unexpected. I didn't think that Gi-hun would be sacrificing himself at the end. All I think about is good things. He was able to win it and stop it and go back to his daughter. That's all I'm thinking about. And since he's considered to be like a legend in this show, I feel he but the thing is, he makes a big impact on the audience, on the people he knows about. Even at that moment, he even silenced the VIPs and the frontman himself, which I feel it never really happened. It makes the frontman feel bad. It makes the frontman feel that kind of grief towards him after knowing that he sacrificed himself for someone who hardly he even knew. Someone so innocent. That's why I feel that Gihu may never win this game. In this season, I feel that he won it by proving humanity still exists, still wins over anything, even at the worst of times, as compared to the front man who was willing to sacrifice every other people for him to win. But Gihun loses, he still wins it because he creates a point that his humanity is still intact towards him. So does Gihun able to stop it? Stop the show from happening? Maybe yes, maybe no. Eventually they blow up the place, but we know that it's happening all around the world. Possibly, but we can't deny the fact that Gihun did try and make an impact with a lot of people, even the villains of the show. The frontman, who is known to be very cold, in season 1 he was doing his job, and in season 3 he was being the most very emotional person towards that point. He even looked at the screen of his photo very, very, even though you can't see on his expression, you can tell the way his body posture is that he was kind of devastated of the loss of Gihun. Do I feel that Gihun and Inho actually appreciate the kind of friendship that they have? I think Inho have that kind of bond with Gihun in some way, even though his intention is just to betray him, just to break him. But we can't deny at some part of him that he feels that he himself see himself towards Gihun. He might offer him an easy way out, but Gihun never chose that. He chose the hard way, fight towards the end, and save the most precious thing, which is the baby herself. Yeah. So so I feel that what can I say? That's all I can say for now. So I hope you guys enjoy this kind of video. If you guys want to watch this kind of videos again, please tell me and share, like and share and subscribe and give your thoughts on the comments. What do you think of Squid Game during the last season? I would love to know more about what you think. So yeah, bye bye.